Hello and welcome back. Susan Zumo here, intuitive and originator of soul patterning harmonics. This week, the message is very, very dense, so stick with me. I know that time is not linear, but an ever-present force. However, I still think in terms of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This is how my 3D world works, and I function and live in that world. I feel time speeding up all around me. So when I asked the when question, when will the old paradigm and those holding it give way to the new? The Galactic showed me the inner workings of a clock with all the different size gears, and then talked about the cycles of time. They said, time is a frequency flowing along your dimensional space current. Time frequency flows in cycles of sound and waves that act differently in different densities, depending upon the structure and vibration of each density or dimension's makeup. Time is not static, although you interpret the now of all time to be static. It is, in essence, a vibrant, energetic, acting as a wave, having sound, light, and tempo. In this world, time, behaving as a waveform, oscillates in cycles and eventually comes back upon itself. It then jumps in frequency and begins a new cycle at the higher octave. The new higher frequency vibrates at a different rate and causes the sensation of time to be moving faster. This is one way to help you understand the feeling of time speeding up. Back to the clock gears and a more personal understanding of the cycles of time. Each gear in an old-fashioned clock is a specific size and has a unique function within the whole. In this scenario, the smallest gear would be the life-time cycle of your smallest creatures. For them, life passes very quickly. Completing the turn of the wheel for them represents a new generation, and then another and another. We can correlate a gear size to every type of being on the planet. Each has their own time cycle of birth, life, and death. Every person has their own personal cycles dependent upon their astrological configurations, numerology, and lifespan. Within these time cycles are event cycles of building, rest, and upheaval. Each person's gear will turn at its own rate or in its own time. For one, the cycle of building an accomplishment may last for years, while another will only have months. This procession of time in each cycle is determined by the individual's belief, action, karma, and spiritual frequency. After a period of time, their gear will turn and a shift will take place. Accomplishment slows down and we move into a resting cycle. During this time, research takes place, plans are formulated, and activities move toward the inner world in order to energize the path ahead. Action takes place, but remains second to the inner growth necessary to move into and through the next time cycle with grace. Meditation and time in nature, along with self-care, support the movement through this cycle. Eventually, the gear turns again, time moves forward, and upheaval clicks into place. Now the actions of the past are not bearing the fruit as they once did. Emotions and situations that have not been addressed will come to the fore to be healed and released. Things must be done differently as we move forward from this time. The new plan that was formulated during the rest cycle can be a beacon of light during this falling apart time. Remaining heart-centered and harmless to self and others will facilitate a smoother and quicker movement through this cycle. Releasing patterns, emotions, and beliefs that no longer suit the new plan will allow your spirit to expand and evolve, another term for ascend. Maintaining a spiritual practice is extremely important at this time. Now let's expand this model of passing cycles of time to include your community, your state, country, and the world as a whole. History records one version of humanity moving through the cycles of building, rest, and upheaval as a collective. The movement through cycles has led to the strong acceptance of history repeating itself from the past and into the future. The belief that it will continue to do so is firmly held in place, but that is not so. Although the gears of time for humanity and planet Earth seem to turn slowly, their rate of change is affected by the time cycles of every individual's frequency of change. Remember, frequency creates consciousness, and consciousness feeds frequency. As your consciousness expands and you move into higher light frequency, time accelerates. Time in this example is not a flat-wheeled gear turning other gears. It is a spiraling, moving energy, and every cog is a step into higher consciousness and higher dimensions. History has repeated itself as a result of frequency drops preceding the next octave in consciousness. The negative impacts of war, disease, and famine, along with other negative events, are the vehicles used to pull humanity into lower frequencies. After each series of negative events, humanity has had to climb the steps to higher consciousness and cycle back around to that same point. The grip of those in power, constantly resetting the wheel of time, has come to an end, and it is no longer possible to delay the evolution of humanity. The wave of time continues to move the gears on an ever-expanding spiral that break through the reset of time. The tipping point has already been reached, and once this cycle of upheaval is complete, you, as humanity, will be building a new world in a new time period. Be patient and know that your progress along your personal cycles is what moves everyone and everything forward to the new time. Time itself is more fluid than you may know. Your perception of it will follow your own evolution as you come to a place of peace within your own cycles. Well, I hope that helped you a little bit. It certainly gave me a lot to think about and a new way to look at the movement of time and the evolution of humanity in this period that we're in right now. As always, I appreciate everyone watching and commenting and sharing these videos. It's really important for people to hear this and to hear positive, light-filled information that they can use. Next week, we'll talk about the new frequencies coming in for February and what we can look forward to. Until then, I wish you many, many blessings.